I'm just trying to make it look like I've got your package. I think that's it. Some paint. There's a nice lady behind me. Hello, darling.
It is a great background. It's
fantastic.
Lots to look at.
Yeah, it's a lovely picture. I love this one. It's the only one that has survived so far all the work, isn't it? Because my dragon disappeared, but it had to come down.
Oh, where was your dragon?
It was on outside on one of the other walls. It was a seal, like a gold seal, 3D dragon.
Good. Oh.
It was in pieces in the box. They took it off, all the little pieces, and then I just lost the will to live when I looked at the box of bits and thought, I can't assemble it. It's not a jigsaw.
Gone too far.
Yeah, one step too many.
Cool. I think we're still waiting on a few folks. We've got a few minutes yet, don't we? So.
Okay. No worries.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh.
I'm just undoing my packages.
Oh, good. Let's hope it's all in there.
Well, we'll
You're
fudge
on boarding if you haven't got it.
We'll fudge it, it's fine.
Sorted.
We weren't being mean, by the way, but only sending you a little bit of sellotape. It was just an easy way of getting rid of our old rolls. Because you don't need an awful lot. And the bingo markers are really good for the bingo later if that's where you're off to after this.
Maybe I will.
Ooh.
It's like Christmas mystery box style.
I haven't seen a picture either, so I don't know what it's supposed to look like. It's very exciting.
It's we're going back to school because we're going to do some maths. This is a mathematical thing. This is do you remember doing these at school? This is I think they call it a net, and it makes this triangle we're going to talk about. Tetrahedron.
Brilliant.
Maths. I do it in school, and it's a way of introducing art, but pretending it's maths.
Yeah.
One school didn't have any budget for art. They said, if you pretend it's maths, we can take you in. So I said, okay, we'll pretend this is a maths class, but we'll end up with a coloured-in piece of art.
Yeah, I prefer it that way around.
Yeah, well, never mind. It works.
Are we doing the small one?
We're going to do both because that's the way I am. I'm sorry. So, and I've got you some work to do as well, not just arty stuff. You've got in your package, you should have 3 fairly big sheets of A3 card.
Yeah.
That looks like bits of triangles on them, and they've got numbers on them, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
You cut those out, we'll stick them together, and we'll make a big version of the little one that I've already done for you. So in your pack, you've got this small one.
Yeah, that's the big one.
And the 3 A3 sheets are going to make this, but bigger. And then you'll end up with a lantern. That's the big one, painted, before we fold it up. And that's the small one.
Fabulous.
Painted. And I've just done a few logos, and I've given you enough stuff so that you can make more afterwards. So you can make, I think you've got 3 sheets of paper, so you can make quite a lot of these small ones. You can
term project.
You can get 3 on a sheet of the small ones.
Fab.
Or you can do a big one and a small one on one sheet. Because they look better if you have a lot. I'm doing a few for my daughter who said, oh, I'll have some of them for Halloween. So I've got to make a whole string of little ones for her house. Like I've got nothing else to do. Well, I haven't actually. But, there you go.
You should have got us all to make them and send them back.
Sorry?
You should have got us all to make them and send them back.
Well, if I'd been thinking clearly, that's probably what I should have done.
But no, I think last week's project I did with my little girl, like during the week, and she'll probably want to do this one as well. So we're
Well, that's
starting.
what I thought, because it's really just an introduction to lanterns. We do these at Global Grooves because it's quick. So normally when you do a lantern using willow and tissue and glue and all the rest of it, it takes 3 or 4 sessions because you have to make it, let it dry, come
Well,
back,
I've got one of
do
them.
another one. This you could do in one session, and the people paying for it like that, because it's the artist is in and out and he's done his job and they don't have to have him back.
Yeah, fab.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing from a business point of view, but they certainly seem to like it otherwise. So do you think we've got somebody else joining us? How many have we got? We've got a lot coming.
I think I don't know if Sonia's coming. Sophie mentioned that she might not be. Galaxy J6, who I wasn't sure who that was, has just left. So hopefully they'll come back. I think we're waiting on a couple more. Maybe if we give it until 5 past, and then I can let people in as they join if they do. Well, it sounds like you guys get a head start with cutting things
so
out.
if you want to look at the big ones, sheet number 1, there's lines everywhere, but it's basically we're trying to make this into a triangle. So don't cut the dotted lines, only cut where there's a solid line. So basically it's just cut this. Should have brought my glasses. There we go. And that's the first one, like that. And if you go to number 2, you've got a triangle, you've got a bit of writing on this side, which is what we need it. So a set again, cut just a solid line. Easy, really. I've made it damn easy. Look at that. Being sorted. Well, I mean, this is easy, Frank. And number 3 is the same. There we go. The good thing about using somebody else's place is you don't have to worry about where the paper goes. It's great fun.
I do, Gordon, I do.
My pleasure. I'll go tidy up afterwards.
Oh, that's okay.
And I'll do it upside down. I don't know if you can see this, but there's your top one. This is number 3 as it happens, and that just fits there, and you sellotape it together, and we end up with, you can see already I'm going to have a big triangle, can't you? So I just sellotape it as best you can. Put the other one on as well. So those two go together, sort of. I've done it by hand, so I mean, if it's slightly off, we'll just trim it to make it match, but it should fit. There we go. Actually easier if you stick 2 and 3 together first, I think. So that's 2 and 3 stuck together. And then put number 1 on the top. Make it look like a triangle. Great.
So I'll keep an eye on the waiting room just while, when you guys make a start, just in case there's anyone who's joining us a bit later. But nice. I'm quite enjoying covering this session for Sophie. She, as you know, can't make it this week. My name's Freya. I also work on the Global Grooves team, but I'm just going to kind of be in the background anyway and let you guys crack on with Gordon. I'll let you introduce. Oh, someone else is joining back. If you want to give it a second, Gordon, before you introduce yourself.
I don't mind. I've got all day.
Lovely. but yeah, I'll just pop myself on mute and turn my camera off. And yeah, hope you guys have a good session.
Okay. So hopefully you've got something like that when you cut them out, a giant one.
I haven't got that.
Come on, Jenny, show me what you've got. No?
Mine seemed to be a different shape there. No. How did you do that?
1, 2, and 3. So number 1 is just a triangular piece, and then number 2, just imagine that's not there. That's what your number 2 piece looks like. That. So
No.
a triangle and part of a triangle. No?
No, I've got 3 triangles.
Oh.
3. They're all triangles.
Put 3 triangles out. But you see the bit that you got left over? The 4th triangle is the 2 bits that you probably chucked on the floor.
Well, no. No, because it's...
Well, the way to do it then, don't worry, is fit the 3 together with the gap in the middle. So you've got 3 triangles, haven't you?
Yeah.
So put them on your paper so that you've got a naked triangle in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you can draw around it that way.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because we have all got this little one, haven't we? Anyway.
Yeah.
But if you imagine it's basically it's just 4 triangles fitted together. That's all the template is really.
Right.
I found this Zoom stuff quite difficult. I've done a few. I've done actually a similar video for making this for Prestwich Arts Festival. They're making something similar with lanterns, and I did the video, but there's absolutely no feedback. I can't tell if it works because it works for me because I know what I'm doing, but I can't tell if anybody else could actually make it happen. So this is interesting for me in the hope that we actually did it to work. I'm sure we will. Just give me a shout when you've got your templates ready and then we'll do the next bit.
Oh, well, I haven't. I'm just going to draw around.
Once you've got one, it's easy, I promise you. And you just think, oh, crikey, how did he come up with this? It's so easy. The whole idea is that we just have a very basic structure that holds itself together, which you can get to quite quickly, and then spend your time painting them, because that's really what we want to do, isn't it, really? Don't really want to do all the cutting out. It's much more fun painting them. Let's see how we go. If anybody can give me a nod when they think they've got a big one ready, we can proceed. Or we can just dump the big one and just concentrate on small ones if it's easier for you. It doesn't really matter. I'll leave that there.
Right, done it.
Almost.
Almost, good.
Yeah.
Cool. So what you've probably found with this paper I've sent you, it's tracing paper. It's an industrial tracing paper that goes on machines, to be honest, but I like it. I use it for a lot of stuff, but partly because it's tracing paper, so it's sort of translucent. The light shines through it, which is what we want, but it glows. I would imagine it's fighting you, is it? If it's just been rolled up all the time. So I'll do this upside down. Let's difficult to show you. I'll tell you what, I'll try this. Hold on. There appears to be an actual stand on the board. Oh, there we go. Maybe that'll help a bit. Let's put a piece of paper on. Can you see that all right? Yeah. And then I'm just going to put my template on. If I was being a real mean visual artist, I would go, yes, I can get 4 out of here, but I might be able to get 5, but I don't think I can. I can get 1, 2, I can easily get 3 out of it. So you'd be able to have a go at quite a few of these afterwards. And then basically position it on your tracing paper and try not to use your pencil. Here we go. And then just draw around it. That's your first job, really. Carefully as you can. Just draw around the template. This is really odd, doing it upside down. Ooh, if it moves, just line it back up. There we go. And hopefully, once you've drawn around it, you've just got lines. I don't know if you can see that really. I've just now got an outline. But what you'll also notice on your template is there's lots of dotted lines. Can you see all the dotted lines on it? All the way around the edge and between, sort of showing you where the different triangles are. Those are the folding lines that we'll need to do on the lantern. So the easiest way to do that is to put the tracing paper over the template that you've just drawn the outside lines around. Line it up because you've got outside lines. There we go. And then trace on the dotted lines that are everywhere. Just like that. And this is just to help you fold it afterwards, otherwise you can't see where you're going. And the only structure that holds this together or holds this up into its shape is the fact that it's folded. In other words, it's a polygon. There we go. The other reason for this paper, you'll find out soon, is that it folds really well, holds a crease quite strong. Almost like plastic. It's weird stuff. There we go. And then right at the very top of your lantern, there's like a triangle marking right at the top here. Just trace that as well, because that will be the little cutout that we'll put in at the end so you can put your lights in. Because I've also sent you some lights. Hopefully you found these light bulbs on wires. Not that you can see that on this screen. Can you see these? That little triangle at the top is where you feed these through into the lantern when it's finished. So once you've traced the dotted lines, hopefully on your tissue, on your tracing paper, you've got your template marked out. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Cut it out. That looks fantastic, that big triangle you just showed me.
That's the template, that one.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
That's all right. So I'm just going to cut this this one out now, the small one I've done. I'll just do that for now. I won't throw that away, it's good stuff. Right, so And again, just cut all around the edges. And there's little triangles here at the ends of, at the junction of all the smaller triangles within the shape. Little piece there. Cut those out because that helps you fold it. I'll show you why in a minute. On that. There we go. You end up with a toasting paper version of your template, hopefully. Small one. I might just do that again with the big one. Same story if you're using the big one. Obviously it's big. Just fits on my marker board with a bit of luck. I'll set that to the bottom. Do you know what? This is just like my own studio. I put my pencil down, I can't find it. Oh, there it is. I lose them all the time. I'm just going to draw around this big one at the same time. Added difficulty of this bit at the top. You're right. So look, there we go. Put this on. Stretch this over the top. There we go. There we go. So now I can just put in all the funny little triangle at the top and then all these dotted lines on the big one. It's a sort of a standard thing in cutting and folding of paper when you're doing paper art, but solid lines are cutouts and dotted lines are score and fold in the proper terminology. We want you to score this because it's easy stuff to do. So in schools, I also sometimes just turn up with these already printed out for them, depending on how old they are. But part of the fun, I think, is mapping it out. Ooh. I think this was a really good idea of planning to have this at an angle, but it's really awkward. Ouch. There we go. Well, this will probably come out like a, not a pyramid. There we go. I think that's it. I've done them all. So, remove the template. And then I've got a big one to cut out as well. Which I do. And now I can't find the scissors now. Oh, there we are. We've actually made these lanterns as a group all over the place, at festivals, in fields and all sorts of things. And you can do things in the strangest of places. Don't forget those little triangles at the junction of all the smaller triangles, because they're important. There we go. And on your tracing paper, that triangle that little sort of marker that we left at the top, if you cut that out with your scissors, just along the lines, careful, because there's only one way of doing it, which is stick your point in, and then cut down each side, like that. So just leave that, that's like a flap now. Push it in or out. Right, so I've now got myself a big template cut out, and a small one which I've now dropped. There's that one. Where have you gone? What's in here? Oh, there it is. So many triangles on this table. There we go. What's over there? So I've got a small one. I've got a big one made out of the tracing paper. How are you getting on?
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, so if we start with the small one, because that's the easiest, because it's small, all you've got to do now is fold along these dotted lines that you've created. So I tend to do the ones in the middle first, because that's the most important part. So all you do is line up those dotted lines and score it with your thumbnail on the dotted lines, and you can see it makes a really good crease when you get there. And then do all three the same. Okay, it almost wants to fold itself up already. Yeah. Then once you've done the three in the middle, if you do all the edges, this will give you a sort of a strengthening edge to each triangle. And that's why you need to cut those little triangle bits out at the junction so that it folds over without interfering with the other one. And just fold them over and stick them down. Look. You end up with a much stronger edge that's no longer curling. It's like when they like put creases into car bonnets and things to make them strong. It's the same sort of effect. Another one. Yeah. So then you fold it all around, all the dotted lines kind of fold, you end up with basically a shape that wants to come together like this. And I've noticed I've not even cut out my little triangle on here. I have to do that. Yeah. So if you've got something like that with your small one, yeah, cool, lovely. So you end up with, it's gone slightly smaller, but we've got sort of 4 triangles now, and then you can see that we'll be able to sellotape those together. So this is the maths part finished. We can now do the arty bit. All right, so I'm just going to put on the side. I'm going to fold the big one up as well, just to show you how that works. It's the same principle. Along the dotted lines. Actually, it's no more harder, is it? No more difficult doing the big one, to be honest.
This the top. Okay.
Then along these dotted lines on the edge of each big triangle. go on forever. There we are. If it runs off, don't worry about it. Just make it go where it has to. Okay. So I've now folded a big one, which works the same way, just bigger. Right, so again, I've got 4 triangles, if you like, with an edge to 3 of them, which helps me hold them up and stick them together. All right? Yes? Doesn't it? This part here, incidentally, you know the bit where we've cut this little triangle out at the top on its own? I keep saying at the top, that's because you want that at the top of the lantern, because we're going to hang the lights through here. So the lights, which I've sent you, are these little that goes on a wire, they'll be stuck through here like this, and then we'll wire them so that they hang down part way through the lantern. So they'll hang like that. So it's important that that's at the top when you're doing your design. Because I've done them before and I've forgotten, and then I've had to put the cuts somewhere else because I've got the lantern the wrong way around. Doesn't matter. Okay. How are we doing? That's it on all the paper here. So I've also sent you in your pack a collection of a few images just to help out. It's just me thinking Halloween, really. And I've sized them, so I've got small ones, which are obviously for the small lantern, because they fit better. And then I've similar ones, all the same, really. I've just blown them up, made them bigger on the computer. So this is one of mine from years ago that I did for a project, and it just looks really good on a lantern, a laughing devil's face, which, of course, we all know where that one's from. And a pumpkin head. So we'll use those next. Ultimately, they'll look something like these. There's a pumpkin head, ghosty, devil, witch. In your pack, I've also sent you, hopefully, a black felt pen, a marker pen. Yeah, good. And some of these. I love these. Paints, kids love them, but I love them. Everybody calls them bingo markers, but they're basically just giant fat felt pens with paint in. They're great. And no mess. Children can't kick these over and spill it up the wall, can they? Neither can I suppose. Okay, so if we were just doing maths, we'd now stick this template together and we'd go, oh, look, lovely, a tetrahedron, everybody, we can go home. But we're artists today, so that's our end result. What we've now got to do is put the design in. And the way I do it is quite simply, I tend to do it on the inside of the lantern, not the outside, purely because when we're doing processional stuff, and sometimes these do go out in processions, we did Diwali in Manchester last year, same sort of thing. If the design is on the inside, the light still shines through it and you see it, but if it rains, it doesn't wash off. It's just a thought. So I tend to position it. So position your template, the one I've sent you, your stencil, where you want it, yeah? And then with your black marker, we'll make this silhouette that the light will shine around and show it up. So what I then do is basically follow the shape I've created, like that, and colour it in. Makes it easier to paint as well because this is a permanent marker, so it won't run. It's a bit fiddly, but you can see how it works. Actually, the mouth is probably the fiddliest of all on this particular one. Something nice about screaming teeth. When I'm tracing it out, I can actually remember how I drew it. It's peculiar, isn't it? There we go. And then just fill in every area that's black, just colour it in with the felt pen. Keeps you quiet, doesn't it? There we go. These images I've sent you are just my ideas, but what I was thinking of is that you can probably, almost certainly, make more your own things on. I'm doing some for my daughter, and she wants Casper the Ghost, I think it is. That's the image I've got to find. So I'll just go and find it and print one off and trace around it. Hopefully you'll have something that looks like that once you've traced it round. Turn it around the other way. What I've tried to do is have him at an angle so that he looks like he's almost coming out at you. Why he's twisted, really. So that's one. And now I've got to do another one, because I can. Oh, I've got the witch, that'll do. There's my triangle. So that's the top. So she can be up this way around. Because when the lantern's assembled, she was be in the right place. And she should, hopefully, just about fit on. This is quite a big one to do. The stencil's got little fingers, but I'm ignoring those. She's got one tooth. I'm trying to include that. That's her outlined. I'm just going to fill her in as well, I think, because it looks okay on the lantern. Hopefully I'll be able to hear your pen squeaking soon. In my own studio, I have, they all take the mickey out of me here, but I have what I call the Megamix Studio iPod that I have blasting out music, which is, because I'm so ancient, it's from all over the place. And if I'm working for long hours, yesterday I still am, making fairies for a school. And you can sometimes spend hours stood up doing this. And my wife came in to see me yesterday, and I think there was Earth, Wind and Fire on Boogie Winterland, and I was dancing away to myself. I'd stopped drawing, I'd forgotten. And I ended up having to say, well, no, it's just so that I'm doing some exercise at the same time. So I'm not used to this silence whilst colouring in. On which, sorry. What else should we do? What have we got? Oh, I know what we've got. I like this one. Oh, this is a funny angle as well. There we are. Not having that straight. There we are. Ghost. Good. The other thing you could do with these to decorate, I was just thinking how else I decorate them. I don't always just do drawings like this. Depending on who I'm working with, really. I've used, you know, those sort of like stickers you can get for kids. You can put those on. Kids love stickers because the light will still shine around them. And for Diwali, I devised a whole load of symbols from the Hindu religion for Diwali. There's some lovely symbols, fire and lights and so on. And then we stuck, apart from doing the picture on the inside, we also stuck jewels and things on the outside. So you can do all sorts of things to dress these up. They don't just have to be a simple triangle. There we go. I've got a ghostie, and I'm going to put the pumpkin head right in the middle at the bottom. I've left it in coloured so you give you an idea. How we do it? Oh yeah, it's working. Look at that, people. Very good. Very good. I'll just do this one. I find myself wondering how pumpkin sales are this year. I wonder what's going to happen. Is everyone just not going to bother? Difficult, isn't it? I'm just going to make a load of these and stick them in the window, I think. Crikey, this big one goes on a bit, doesn't it? Well, I've got all these bloody black images. There we go. Fantastic. Black silhouettes. Fantastic. How are we doing? Oh yeah, see, it works. Fantastic. Lovely. Now, I've sent you, can't quite remember, four colours, haven't I? Did I send you yellow?
Yes.
Good. I must have sent a blue,
Yeah.
a red of some sort,
Okay.
and probably a green or something horrible like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Well, I'll use the same then. Let's hope these are the same. I opened these the other day and all the colours were different. The knobs did not really. No, that's not yellow. That's orange. Oh, good. Right, so my yellow is orange. Never mind. It's just to show you that we can. What's that one then? Is that yellow? Oh no, what's that? Oh, that's red. Oh, right. Hopefully you've got the colour that it says on the top. If you haven't, don't worry. I'm just going to colour in now. So on the Halloween one, I'm just going to follow the picture really. So what I'm going to do is loosely put some yellow in the middle. This is yellow, everybody. I know it looks orange, but it's yellow. And this is like watercolour paint, so you can treat it the same as you would if you were painting watercolours, really. And while it's still damp, mix them in. Like that. And then you get more colours for your money. Leave it quite rough because you want to sort of have the effect. There you go, you can see the light shining through it here. And then I've actually made one before, as you can see, just when I was playing about to make sure it worked. So I'm just going to pick colours and just colour in the triangle, really, with these big paint jobs. So I think I'm going to have that one. Just, when you shake these, you can hear the paint rattling, so if it's not coming out very well, give it a bit of a squeeze, but not on your lantern, on a piece of paper. Squeeze it and it'll come running through the sponge. What you'll also find is this really cheap paint that we use is quite translucent because it's thin. So the light shines through it quite nicely, but also it has an effect on the paper. It sort of stiffens the paper up a bit, which is really odd. Which is why you need to fold it with all these creases done first before you paint it, because it's really difficult afterwards to fold it. They're great though, look at that, you don't even have to bother about filling your paintbrush. Fantastic. And I'm a bit arty, so I'm going to let my red bleed a bit into where the devil is, because why not? There we go. And then the devil, I'm going to mix in. I've only got orange. Unfortunately, I was going to use yellow, but it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put orange around the outside of him, mixed in there. I might put some more red than that, yeah. Do it quite rough, it will look like flames as well, like he really is very well. In that. I'm going to put some more red on that, I think. Double that. Flames. And then I'm going to fill him in red, leave his teeth white. Well, I don't suppose he has white teeth. Probably yellow. Yeah. And like I said, the beauty of the permanent marker pens is that you can paint over it and it doesn't affect the paint, just stays where it's supposed to be. There we go. I'm doing it quite quickly, but it's also quite rough, but actually it looks alright. When you see him, he's jumping out at you. Ah! This is my favourite one, that I have to admit. Well, let's do this ghosty one. Now in the film, I actually coloured him in red, as you can see, but actually I'm going to leave him white today just to see what the difference is and put green around it. Just going to leave those clear, because I think in the movie that I saw, they're white. So we'll see what that looks like. I don't know if you've tried the little light bulbs yet, but they aren't one colour, they're multicoloured lights, so some clear bits is probably a good idea. That looks like. Oh yeah, looks alright. And then I've got blue, so I'm going to use blue. Well, I might put some orange around her. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. Oh, I haven't got yellow. Damn. If I had yellow, I'd put yellow behind her as if she's flying in front of the moon, but I'm going to put her in front of orange. That sort of the sun setting. As you can see, there are no rules. So I wouldn't try that. More jaggedy. Yeah, and I'm going to risk blue. My orange. Hopefully this is blue. If it's not, oh, it is blue. Yes, it is. Yeah. On which dry. On the roll now. Said hoping to find ice. I've got it. There it is. So I'm going to do the small one now as well, because why not? I'll take these home and tell my daughter I did them specially for her, and she'll never know. Right. Oh, in fact, I've got that little ghost I was talking about, haven't I? I could use that. Right. Might be good. So I'm going to just colour those in. I'm lazy, so I'm going to do the same. So thank you, everybody. I shall now tell my daughter I made these specially for her, and of course I didn't. Yeah. That was quite good. Like that. Little ghosts. 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 Oh. How are we doing? Oh yeah, cool. So once you got to that stage, we're just ready. We can now assemble it. And the easiest way is, as I've sent you some sellotape. I mean, we've tried glue and all sorts of things, but I end up with, well, just stay where it's supposed to. Sellotape, say that. So I've got a dispenser because there's only one hand, but basically, all I do is, just hold them together. You can hold the two sides together quite strongly. Get them matched up, and somewhere stick a bit of sellotape on. Doesn't have to be all of it. Just up one side. Hold them over. Once you've got one bit stuck on, it sort of gets easy. I wasn't working upside down on a slope. Yeah. And then once you've got a shape, it does affect the paper, doesn't it? You get like a sort of slightly bubbly effect on the paper, but I think that's quite nice. Makes it feel a bit like parchment. It no longer feels like plastic. Okay, and then I just, with other bits of sellotape, just seal the edges in completely. This time. So you're happy. This is where it's, in the old days, it's easier if there's 2 or 3 of you, because you can just help each other, but not anymore. Easy enough. And once it's all stuck together, it holds itself. It's quite a strong shape. Those Egyptian blokes knew what they were about. All right. Right. Yeah. There we go. Tear on that one. Fix that with some tape. Sort of like this. There you go. Yes. Wow. Fantastic. Well, I'll stick another one while I'm doing that. I'm quite pleased with this because I'm getting another job done at the same time. Not bad. That's the fairies this afternoon. I've picked some very simple images today, but you can imagine if you want to put more complex images on, you can, because it works quite nicely. So you know, flowers or whatever floats your boat, really. The other thing which I didn't send you because we have a budget, of course, is that you can use felt pens with this. Felt pens work quite well too. You know, I've got a bucket full here, and they're really cheap ones you buy at the supermarket. I don't spend a lot of money on felt pens. So there's my little tiny one with a ghost. I like that. Edwin, my grandson, will play with that one, won't he? So how are you getting on? Have you got one assembled? Should we try some lights to see what it looks like? Okay. So if you get your light wire, I've glued these on with a hot glue gun, but sometimes I just sellotape them on, depends how much time I've got. And on the top of them, there's a little serrated slider switch, which you just click on. 1, 2. And they sort of flash. Are they flashing? All different colours. They look really pathetic in daylight. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then all you do with that, you see the top, it's quite thin wire, just bend a sort of a hook like that in the top. So you've got a handle, okay? And then all you do is actually get a piece of sellotape first, it might be easier. So I put the lights in my mouth with the sellotape in my finger, and then that little triangle that you cut out, oh, mine stopped working. Come on, there you go. Slide the lights into that, and then where it comes out of that triangle, just stick it on. And then you've got a little hook, hopefully it works. Sellotape on it. I'll put a bit more sellotape on that, it's a bit mean. Just at the top, there we are. And then you've got a handle as well. There you go. Oh look, yes, somebody's got the lights out, perfect. Really good. As I said, pathetic in daylight, but really good in the dark. Perfect, well done. And then that, I mean, if we're carrying them outside, that just then gets taped onto a stick. These little lights will last for about 24 hours. So you can leave them on or switch them off or do whatever you like with them. And they do work even in the big lanterns. Once you get into once it's dark, they really show up. And then you get this, especially this devil face, he just sort of bounces out at you all the time, which is quite good. What do you think? Quite easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really good. So I'm just doing, for my grandson, he's got little ghosts hanging up in his window, and my daughter said, I want some of those little triangle lanterns all the way along, so I'm just going to make a whole load and hang them up and put some lights in. But I think she's just going to stick some fairy lights in them, you know, the LED ones.
Yeah.
So she's going to make like a streamer of lanterns and just stuff them full of fairy lights just for Halloween, because we haven't got a pumpkin. Although I'm tempted to get a pumpkin now, I've got excited. I've sort of come to the end of it. That's how to make a polygon lantern out of tracing paper and a bit of sellotape, and a light that holds its shape. Decoration is entirely up to yourselves. But if you use this really cheap paint, don't use expensive stuff, use really cheap, nasty paint, because it's very thin and the light shines through it, so it works. These are great for lanterns. But you can, like I say, use felt pens because they work the same. And let me get rid of that. Oh, that piece of wood. My axle stand. It's much, that's better. And then images are just up to your own thing. There's loads of things to do. I can't think of anything else to say unless you've got any questions. I'm quite happy to answer anything.
No, that's fine.
Good. Do you like my
Enjoyed it.
coronavirus haircut? I've not had it cut yet. One thing I might mention, I'm going to be doing another series of workshops all about working with clay and casting. Is it okay for me to mention that, Freya?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just a few thoughts that we're going to be sending you a lump of clay and a bag of plaster. And I just wanted to warn you that it's going to be really messy. That's all I wanted to say. So get some plastic for your table, because it will be messy. And what we're going to do, I'll show you. I mean, I make molds all the time. I make hands and things for giants and puppets and heads and stuff like that. So I'll bring a few examples when we start that, just to show you where you go with these things. But I was thinking of making a mold. It's called a press mold, so you just have one, and then we make a mold, and then we make copies of the design. And I was thinking maybe if we did some sort of Christmassy type decorations that could just be hung up, that are three-dimensional, either for the tree or for the wall. And again, what I'll try and do is with Sophie is I'll put a few designs together and send them out ahead of our series of workshops, so you can choose which one amongst you we should make. Then I'll make it with you. But I'll give you enough clay and enough plaster so you can make more as well once you've got the hang of it. That's it. Just so when you sign up for the clay and the plaster one, make sure you've got an apron and make sure you've got lots of plastic on your table.
Right.
It's really messy. This is really tidy, which is unusual for me, as Freya will tell you.
I can second that. Thanks so much, Gordon. I see some lanterns peeking up from people's screens, which is cool. And Jenny said, I can't wait, it sounds amazing about your clay workshop. So,
yeah, it's fun. I mean, I was lucky enough to be trained in Barcelona, so I follow the way the Spanish make them, which is a very old-fashioned, traditional way. They make giant heads. They've made them for hundreds of years. I've taken that and tweaked it because it has to suit what we do. So you'll be working with a whole load of materials. So clay, plaster of Paris, which is great fun, really, really messy and gets everywhere. My wife's always telling me off. And we'll be using paper, because we'll actually make the mold, and then we'll use paper, a bit like papier-mâché, but we'll be laminating paper to make the shape. And then you can paint that and decorate that to your heart's content. So we could make, for instance, sort of half a bauble or something that stands up on your tree, depending what you like. So I'll come up with a few ideas, and we'll play around with it and see which ones you want to have a go at.
Yeah, fabulous.
Great, thank you very much.
Sounds cool. Yeah, thanks, Gordon. I think I just wanted to mention, I think Sophie's already told you guys an email that there isn't a session next week with half term. Yeah, Catherine, you're nodding, so that's good news, you already know. So yeah, the next session will be with Emily on the 3rd of November. But yeah, it's been great to sit on and see what you guys are up to. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Okay, thank you very much. Really enjoyed
Nice to
it.
meet
Thank
you all.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.